to our final day of Read Across America Storytime videos. It's been a great week celebrating with our friends from all over the country. But to close out this celebration, we have two very special friends from very different parts of the world. Yes, you heard that right. Our last two friends come from Canada and Australia. Now, I know it's Read Across America, but our friends were so nice they could not help but want to celebrate with us. So, without further ado, let's meet our friends from Canada and Australia. Let's start our journey by visiting Ms. Gale over at the Oxford County Library System in southwestern Ontario, which is in Canada.
Hi everybody, my name is Gail Kavelman. Currently I'm working in the Chelmsford branch of the Oxford County Library. Oxford County is located in southwestern Ontario, which is part of the province of Ontario, which is part of the country Canada. I'm not sure where you live. I'd love to know where you live. Today I'm going to share one of my favorite stories written by Phyllis Gershader, illustrated by Jill McDonald, and it's one of Barefoot Books. It's a great publishing company. They make so many great stories. And I live in the country just outside of Chelmsford, and I love stories about Farmyard. This is called Who's in the Farmyard? Who wakes up in the morning to a cock-a-doodle-doo? Hens cluck, cluck and clucking, and they're cheeping chicks too. Who wakes up in the morning to a cock-a-doodle-doo? Sheep's ba-ba and bang, and their little lambs too. Who wakes up in the morning to a cock-a-doodle-doo? Cows moo 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 mooing, and their little newborn calves too. Who wakes up in the morning to a cock-a-doodle-doo? Goats bleat 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 bleating, and their frisky kids too. Who wakes up in the morning to a cock-a-doodle-doo? Pigs oink, 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 oinking, and the squeaky piglets too. When the king of the farmyard starts to crow, everybody wakes up and says hello. Do you know what? Have you ever heard a rooster? They go like this. Arr, 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 arr. Who wakes up in the morning with a cock-a-doodle-doo? Well, thanks so much for joining me here in Chelmsford, Ontario, Canada. I'm looking forward to seeing all the stories from Read Across America. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.
Let's go across the ocean to visit Miss Sharon over at the John Septimus Rowe Anglican Community School, which is all the way in Western Australia.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharon Murphy and I am reading to you from Perth in Western Australia. So I am a library teacher at a school called John Septimus Rowe Anglican Community School, and we cater for kids from pre-kindy all the way up to year 12, so from 3 years of age all the way up to they're about 17. So if you don't know, this is what Australia looks like. And Western Australia, I'm over here. And today I've chosen to read for you a book called Possum Magic. It's by one of our very well-loved Australian authors. Her name is Mem Fox. Illustrations are by Julie Vivas. Here we go. Once upon a time, but not very long ago, deep in the Australian bush lived two possums. Their names were Hush and Grandma Poss. Grandma Poss made bush magic. She made wombats blue and kookaburras pink. She made dingoes smile and emus shrink. But the best magic of all was the magic that made Hush invisible. What adventures Hush had! Because she couldn't be seen, she could be squashed by koalas. Because she couldn't be seen, she could slide down kangaroos. Because she couldn't be seen, she was safe from snakes, which is why Grandma Poss had made her invisible in the first place. But one day, quite unexpectedly, Hush said, "Grandma, I want to know what I look like. Please, could you make me visible again?" "Of course I can," said Grandma Poss, and she began to look through her magic books. She looked into this book, and she looked into that. There was magic for thin and magic for fat. There was magic for tall and magic for small. But the magic she was looking for wasn't there at all. Grandma Poss looked miserable. "Don't worry, Grandma," said Hush. "I don't mind." But in her heart of hearts, she did. All night long, Grandma Poss thought and thought. And the next morning, just before breakfast, she shouted, "It's something to do with food! People food, not possum food, but I can't remember what. We'll just have to try and find it." So later that day, they left the bush where they'd always been to find what it was that would make Hush seen. They ate Anzac biscuits in Adelaide, Mornay and Minties in Melbourne, steak and salad in Sydney, and pumpkin scones in Brisbane. Hush remained invisible. "Don't lose heart," said Grandma Poss. "Let's see what we can find in Darwin." And it was there, in the far north of Australia, that they found a Vegemite sandwich. Grandma Poss crossed her claws and crossed her feet. Hush breathed deeply and began to eat. "A tail! A tail!" shouted both possums at once, for there it was, a brand new, visible tail. Later, on a beach in Perth, they ate a piece of pavlova. Hush's legs appeared, and so did her body. "You look wonderful, you precious possum," said Grandma Poss. Next stop, Tasmania, and over the sea they went. In Hobart, late one night, in the kitchen of the casino, they saw a lamington on a plate. Hush closed her eyes and nibbled. Grandma Poss held her breath and waited. "It's worked! It's worked!" she cried. And she was right. Hush could be seen from head to tail. Grandma Poss hugged Hush, and they both danced. "Here we go round the lamington plate till early in the morning." And from that time onwards, Hush was visible. But once a year, on her birthday, she and Grandma Poss ate a Vegemite sandwich, a piece of pavlova, and half a lamington, just to make sure that Hush stayed visible forever. And she did. I hope you enjoyed the story of Possum Magic, all the way from Perth, Western Australia. We're in the middle of our summer while you're very cold over there in America. So maybe one day you'll get to come and see what a beautiful country we live in. Thank you. Goodbye.
That about wraps it up for our week-long celebration for Read Across America. I want to give one final thank you to all of our friends from all over the states for helping us to celebrate this past week by sending us their storytime videos. I also want to say thank you to our friends from Canada and Australia for joining in our Read Across America fun. It's been such a blast. I hope you've enjoyed it. So until next time, bye.